Thank you. Good evening, and it's May 22nd, 2018. We have a quorum. Thank you all for coming. We also have a library, which is good.
Yeah.
We'll see. We got to do reorganization. Is the first on my list.
Should we wait for Kevin or?
I don't know.
We have to do it, so.
I know.
Who else are we missing? They don't have to be here, right?
Someone make
Danielle
a-
and Betty.
Danielle is vice.
Yeah, so because she's not here, because she forgot, we have to, reappoint her in that position.
Oh, here's Kev.
Hey, Kevin. We just started.
Oh, all right.
We look that excited?
Yeah, no, well, we're doing, our first item on our list is reorganization. And, I don't, I'll stay as president, you'll stay as director.
No, we don't have to do anything. He's a contract,
Oh, he's
so-
stuck, right. You'd like to stay as treasurer, secretary, treasurer, yeah.
And Danielle is vice chair.
Sure. Anybody want to be vice chair besides Danielle? No? Okay. So, how about if I cast the sole vote that
We
we...
should say that Kate was reelected, just to.
Yeah, that's right. Kate was
It is nice
reelected.
and
Well, we're not sure. We got to recount.
I know.
Why don't I just cast one vote that it all stays the same and we're good to go? All right?
I make a motion that we retain the slate that we have.
Aren't you good? Okay.
I second the motion.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good.
Nay.
Yeah. You don't get a vote.
Wait a minute.
I can vote.
All
Hey,
right.
write that
Let me make
down when it comes
spitballs.
down with the other stuff. That's like the story of the last 3 months of my life. Is I can't vote.
Signatory on payroll? Anything like that?
Oh, that's
Oh
probably,
yeah. Do we need to like
yeah,
authorize?
Yeah.
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 Like
So
what?
do we do, a substitute, like Ramona on that one too? Because
Yeah.
you
Just to
had
be safe, let's approve a person who can sign payroll and
A substitute.
vouchers and a substitute.
I nominate Barbara Van Reed to be the signature and Ramona Williams to be the backup.
That works for both of you? So, see that? I get a second?
Second.
Okay. I nominate you as my second person. Okay. Any other discussion? You're all set with it?
I'm fine.
Good. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Good. Opposed? Hearing none. That passes. Treasurer's report. We got any money?
Yes, yes we do. The second disbursement of our state aid money has come out, which brings the total income we've gotten from the library incentive grant this year to $10,888.58. And since we've only spent $1,052.70 on that account, we have basically, you know, if you look at just the private accounts we have, our liquid assets, we're actually in the green right now. We have $7,051.46 more than we did at the beginning of this fiscal year.
Yeah, so that's good.
That's good. And we're on track to spend, you know, we're not gonna go over a budget on operations or personnel in terms of
No, looks
municipal
like we've got,
appropriation.
what, the 29,653 left.
Mhm.
And we are, what, 6 weeks away from
Yep.
the end of the fiscal year.
So we've continued to do a good job of being a good fiscally conservative institution, town of Douglas.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Okay, second. All those in favor, please say aye. I jumped over the minutes of March and April, right? we didn't, our last meeting, we didn't have any minutes because
No, well, we didn't have a, we
really, we
never.
didn't have a meeting, yeah.
Yeah, so, even though we posted one, cause we were all in that room, but,
Right.
we didn't talk. But still, I want us to officially say that we didn't have a meeting, that we
Yeah,
went to
there were
that.
no minutes
Right.
for,
Yeah, just so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think half of the board was in bed by the time the selectmen meeting was over.
And
Yeah.
what day was that, April something or other?
9th, I think.
No, it couldn't be the 9th, it was the
No, it was,
fourth Monday of the month, the Tuesday of the month.
fourth Tuesday of the
Oh, I
month.
probably have the agenda here, the 24th.
24?
Okay.
Yeah, because we had that meeting on the 24th, and then the 27th, and then the 9th. Yep.
Right,
Move to approve the minutes.
yeah, I guess move to approve the minutes of March and April 9th. So can I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and second, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hear none? You're up, sir, director's report.
All right, well, it was 3 months ago that, you know, at our meeting, I showed up and had just had, you know, a really long session with Matt in his office trying to make the spreadsheets balance for next fiscal year, and we couldn't. And spent about a month begging, pleading, doing everything I could to get the selectmen to give us an override, and we got one. It wasn't the one we asked for, but we took it, we ran with it, and we're here. It's hard to believe, you know, it was 3 months ago that all started, but at the same time, you know, it seems like it was yesterday. But
Yeah.
we made it through. The library saved the town, and you know, it's been. Everyone realizes that, so it's that should make us happy. I'll breathe a sigh of relief. Anyway, you got a circulation report in front of you. Our total usage metric for April 2018 was slightly higher than in 2017, although our local circulations over our desks were down. Of course, that sort of ties into, you know, anytime there's an annual election with contentious things on the ballot, you know, we've seen circulations tank. This is something I noticed in the 2016 override, and I started comparing it with other town library directors and, you know, mining other data from CWMRs, and there's probably a research paper to be written there somewhere,
Yeah.
but, you know, people are busy doing other things, so.
Knocking on
Circles,
doors.
knocking on doors, vandalizing signs, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. But there's a lot going on now, playing catch up. I did, I don't know how many of you follow Facebook, but, you know, Chairface was a big
Oh, yeah,
aspect
that
of the
was
election.
adorable.
Because people complained about the chairs behind the cert desk and how they were raggedly
Oh, yeah, that was
torn and
funny.
a disgrace to the town. And it's like, okay, all right. So, you know, I did fulfill a promise and bought 2 new chairs for the cert desk.
Nice.
Ellie expressed interest in the Friends maybe reimbursing us for that.
Yes, I don't want it to come out of any of our trust funds, our grant funds, or our operating budget. I think the Friends should pay for it.
Okay, it would have come out of donations, but you know, what I can do is pay for it out of donations, then y'all can donate to the library, and then we'll be
No,
solid.
I'll
Because
pay
it's
for it.
already ordered.
Yeah,
from
I
Amazon.
know, I have a check I can write right now. I mean, why do you have to pay for it with,
Because it's on our account, the Net
That's
30
okay.
account. It's
it doesn't matter.
well, we'll get an invoice in the mail. Like I can't control how we're billed for that because it's like the town's account
What, from WB Mason or something?
from Amazon. Because we have like a Net 30 account with Amazon, and then we get discounts on everything that's applied based on our contract with AHEC and everything. It's
Well, gee, you should have done it through Amazon Smile, so we would have, the Friends would have gotten the money.
I do
Don't
everything
let-
through Amazon Smile.
Well, not this one, obviously, for the library, I mean,
Yeah.
for the Friends. Well, then, why can't I just pay with a check? Don't give it to the town, please. I really don't want it to go to the town, I don't wanna write a check from the Friends to the town.
Well, to the library.
Why would you get it? I would write it to the Amazon, wouldn't I?
No, the way it works is, you know, you've got your Amazon account, it automatically bills you. I don't control the Amazon account. It's like the town's Amazon account that I can
So
order
more
things
than
off
the
of.
chairs could be on that one invoice.
So, like, I've ordered chairs, computer parts, lots of stuff gets ordered there. So I ordered the chairs, and this was before you had said that the Friends will be willing to pay for it. So the order is already placed, it's on the town's Net30 account. Whenever we get it, you know, I just approve it to be spent out of the donations account. And then that pays for it, it's paid for. And then if the Friends donate that same amount to the library donation, just to replenish it, because it's,
I don't know, it sounds messy to me, so I'll renege my thing, from the Friends. I don't wanna do it that way, so that's, Friends
Okay.
are meeting on Saturday and they can change their mind if they want to, but it just.
well, I mean, the Friends
sounds
don't
messy
have to pay
me.
for it, because, you know, we had a lot of people's, like, donate money.
I know,
For
but I don't
chairs.
think that,
The Library and Butt Preservation Fund.
so there was money
Chair
that the
face.
library got afterwards, I mean, as a result of that?
Yeah, we're always getting, we got like a $300 donation from
For chair face.
we got a $300 donation from the so-called. We've got like $20 here, $20 there. Lots of people,
Well,
How much a
so-called
chair?
whatever
does
they
it-
pay, they do it every year.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with the chair, that
Nothing to do
was.
with the chair, but it's donated money, you know.
I
and
know, but
people
I don't
say-
think that that's what donated money should be used for, you know, that type of stuff. I think that the trustees have a say in what, that they wanna approve this or not, you know, and you have 6 of us here, 5 of them could say, yes, let's use donations, and I'll vote no.
Okay, do y'all
How
want
much,
to do that?
wait a minute, how much are chairs?
It's like $120 total, I think,
Right, can I have a
For 2
motion?
chairs.
for 2 chairs, 2 leather drafting chairs behind the circulation desk.
Alright, so can someone make a motion that we approve money from donations to pay for the 2 chairs for the circ desk? Anybody?
So moved.
Okay, and can I get a second?
Second.
Great.
You're up.
Alright, any more discussion? Alright, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
1 opposed. It passes, take it out of donations. What's next?
Okay, so I bought chairs. The other thing I needed to buy was computer parts. Because in the middle of this campaign stuff, Gail's circulation computer died.
Ooh.
And the other one is right behind it. They're both operating on 32-bit systems, which aren't going to be compatible with the next Evergreen release, which happens next Tuesday. So like they're at the end of their life cycle anyway. So I bought parts to build computers. I've already built Gail's. I'll build Mary Ellen's next week. The total cost for that's around $1,000. And the
We got a place where the funds can come from?
awesome. Well, they can come from grants. They can come from donations.
We
they
usually
can
do
come from the
LIG,
whole
MEG.
trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the LIGMEG money.
I make a motion to
We just
use,
got a lot
library grants to pay for the computer parts.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Alright, any more discussion? What's the, give us an exact total that should be part of the motion. Or close, little above.
It's $1,200. It's no more than $1,200. It's like 1,000. I don't remember whether it's bumping up on 1,100 high or low, but it's in that
Okay,
range.
you alright with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
12,
okay.
we'll list it as 1,200, it'll come in under.
Yeah.
Would
Okay,
it be okay, Kevin?
Yeah, allergies are acting out.
Have some
They're
ice
really
milk
bad.
and coffee if you need.
Oh,
okay, motion's been made and approved, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
No, I have an allergy to oaks.
Oaks.
Ooh.
What, like this table?
No, the pollen from the oaks.
There's nothing but oak and pine around here.
Yeah, no.
Oak, pines, maples.
All right, what else you got for us?
All right, what else do I got for you? Tomorrow night we're hiking, so if you want to meet, the library staff is mostly going to be there. Mary Yacino is going to be leading it, doing some bird ID, plant ID, whatnot. It'll be parking at the boat ramp at Cedar Swamp, 6:15. We're just going to do a quick mile hike. Ought to be fun if you want to come. On June 5th, we're having a local author party at the library. We've got Michael Stinger, who's the author of Runner's Dawn, Jane Willen, the author of Shadow of Death, and Rachel Odell Howe, who's the author of Ripple. I'm going to give this to you so you don't have to write all that down. But they're all going to be at the library on June 5th at 6:30.
Ooh, I wanna go to that.
And I'm hoping on Saturday I can pump the friends for money to get some, cheese and snacks and refreshments and things, and have like a party, like a library party with local authors. All three of these authors are from Douglas. They're not local in terms of like,
wow.
they're
I
from,
didn't realize that.
Whitensville, Uxbridge, and whatnot. These are all Douglas authors who have written, so
Cool.
chance to meet neighbors who write books. So June 5th, 6:30, mark your calendar. We want that to be exciting. The summer reading program schedule has been finalized. That's something we've kind of been sitting on until, the results of the vote. But the schedule is up on the library website. It's on Facebook. It's going to be an exciting summer reading program this year, I believe.
Local authors is June or July?
June 5th.
And what's the theme of the summer reading program?
Libraries rock.
Is that worldwide or nationwide?
Massachusetts wide.
Because as you know, I have this nifty paper I read from Colorado once a week, and it's the same thing. So I think it's nationwide.
It might get shared. I think a lot of recycling goes on. And to be honest, we don't always run with a theme. Like it's decided on by like the NDLC, the MLA, and then they pump it out, and and they have other people that get behind it. The Boston Bruins are always a big sponsor of the summer reading program. We usually have one kid from Douglas. We've been very lucky who wins a jersey.
Oh, cool.
From one of the
Oh,
Bruins.
wow. I would love to get a jersey for my grandson.
Well, have him enroll
That
in the
was
summer
for
reading
you.
program at the
Well,
library and read
that'd be
it.
cute from New Hampshire.
Well, if you have a shovel, we can go up to the old dump and dig deep enough and we'll find you more than one jersey.
Yeah.
Also,
From
the-
several sports.
No, it
deals.
would be hockey.
It would be hockey.
Yeah, you'd also get gloves and you get the knee pads and because Sherwood dumped an awful lot into that landfill before we covered it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In other news, exciting news, the transition to the web client. So right now, whenever we're using our integrated library system, we have like a client we have to load on the computer that communicates with central servers and CW Mars, and they back and forth talk and whatnot. Beginning next Tuesday, it's going to be moving to a web client, which is a lot more streamlined, quicker, faster. That in combination with the new CircDesk computers means I'm hoping a lot more swift, instantaneous, customer service at the desk rather than
Oh, cool.
relying on, the excuse the computers are being slow today all the time. The other big thing is a thing for ebooks. The Commonwealth ebook collections, I talked about those 2 years ago, I guess. It was the Massachusetts Library System's attempt to start an ebook, e-resource initiative statewide. And rather than plug their resources into Overdrive, which most of the networks already subscribe to, they decided they would have an entirely different platform, Access 360, which I fought, and a lot of other library directors fought, because it's like, okay, you're telling us, all right, look for it in the catalog. If you can't find it in the catalog, maybe it's an ebook. Look for it in Overdrive. Can't find it in Overdrive? Oh, well, maybe it's an Access 360. Like, no, it all needs to be in the same place. Starting on July 1st, it will all be in the same place. They're abandoning the Commonwealth ebook collection. Well, they're not abandoning they're abandoning Access 360. And they are going to be plugging all of their resources moving forward into Overdrive. So like right now, we already have the consortial level overdrive licenses, and we have the Douglas level overdrive licenses that I buy. And then now there's going to be a statewide umbrella over that. So that like everyone in this state will have first dibs at those licenses. So it ought to increase turnaround on ebooks, less hold times, more available material, that kind of stuff.
That's fantastic.
And that's all I got for a report.
Huh? Well, that's a lot.
Any questions?
Yeah, no, I just have a,
Sure.
yeah, I have a question for Justin. Did you find that this exercise that we've been going through the last couple of months has increased people's awareness of what the library offers in terms of like the ebooks and so on, those capabilities?
I think so. And I'll be talking more about that when we get to new business and online library card registration.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to old building, old business, building capital projects. Anyone, it's open to anyone?
Capital, that's what you were asking.
Capital, I think that given.
I mean, that's been going on for years, so.
Yeah, given what we have just accomplished, there's a lot of talk about sort of taking the momentum we have moving forward with capital projects, capital initiatives. There's been murmurings of weatherizing the library with some Green Communities grant money, maybe. If that was going to happen, the primary things that would be getting updated would be the windows. And if we wanted to do any refurbishment of the windows, like making them openable again and whatnot, then that would need to happen before weatherization, resealing, and all that kind of stuff. But that's just something to be aware of because it's all sort of in the very early phases of planning and looking at what's feasible. But things to just sort of mull over, maybe, we're sort of at a cusp where coming in the fall, the ADA, Massachusetts Office on Disability grant rounds will be live again, and I will be applying again. And there's been talk of maybe trying to get a commitment from the capital committee of a certain amount of funds to augment that to strengthen our bid for that grant. There's also been discussion of maybe we could come up with a better plan for that, because right now the plan we have is basically ripping the floor out of the current building and putting an elevator in there between the two floors. Why can't there be an external one for a minimal amount of cost, technically more so? If any of you know big potential donors, now might be time to reach out. I don't know how receptive y'all would be to the idea of a consultant to come in and advise on a capital campaign.
What about, you had talked to somebody who had talked to another guy, and you were gonna talk to him again the day after the election.
I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm talking to the guy.
The first guy.
The first guy.
Yeah.
Guy number one.
Sounds very mysterious.
Because guy number one wants to look over the plans himself.
Yeah,
and see
that's
if there's
fine,
any
he's an
way that he
architect,
can-
so,
yeah.
yeah.
And we're sort of coming up with ways to collaborate. Douglas Orchard, Douglas Farms and Orchards, Aaron Sokrat, we have these trying to do a lot more community-driven engagement stuff and education at the farm. And so we're trying to sort of plug in together and work together. And like they did a beekeeping program last Friday using library equipment, so we can check out our projector to them. And they have a handicap accessible facility that they're building because they've built that pavilion. It has handicap accessible restrooms. So if we wanted to have events there, we are welcome. And so we're trying to establish a relationship there to make some sort of bigger, sort of local educational initiative. And Aaron is also an architect. And he also comes from Natick and knows people. It's just a resource, the
Sure.
type of which we haven't had before.
Yeah.
And that is something I'm working on. And I'm working on other avenues too. I'm spending a disturbing amount of time researching people I know who are wealthy.
In town?
In Worcester County.
Well, hit the ones in Douglas first, you know, you'll get much more favorable response from them, so. So if you can follow through with the guy that Aaron had talked about, that would be good.
Yeah. And that was the consultant.
No, it was not the consultant. I'm
Not
not in
Aaron
favor
was
of
the
the consultant, so I'm.
No,
We-
they cost money.
Which
We talked
means
that-
everybody will vote for it.
Yeah, except for one thing, is
No,
they weren't cheap, remember we looked
They,
before?
we
Yeah.
did, we
They
did
weren't
look at,
cheap.
and they just take so much money. Do you remember,
Yep.
what's his name in Webster, the rep, Kajewski? He
Yeah.
really ripped them off.
Yeah, no,
It might be worth pursuing. I don't know. What if it was
I wouldn't.
free? What if it was free?
yeah, and then, we were on board.
Yeah,
You know.
if it doesn't cost anything, yeah.
Sure.
They don't get any percentage of anything,
No.
raising the money.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people floating around in the library world who do this kind of pro bono. I mean, like every library did with the election campaign, because they, one of the big drivers behind the vote yes was that every library, which is a National Political Action Committee, advised them on how to go about sort of getting out the vote and their ground strategy and all that stuff, and actually contributed money to the vote yes campaign. And there might be other organizations out there that would do it for building renovation capital stuff. I know that whenever we did the strategic plan for CW Mars, they did not charge. You know, Massachusetts is rife with former librarians, library advocates, whatnot. I mean, I think that if we sniff hard enough, it might be possible to find.
In that particular case, yeah, it would be helpful.
Yeah,
If you can find it for free, yeah, fine, go ahead.
Okay.
Do
yeah,
it.
well, you know what, it's, come on, it's common sense, we're trying to get money and we don't wanna spend money that could go into actual
Spend money to get
fixtures. You know,
But the other thought is to also, and I did hear at a selectmen's meeting that something might be coming of this, of asking our legislators to put in special legislation for funding for Douglas, and that's not just, I mean, it would be sort of a way to say, okay, you're not getting your pilot funds, you're not, we're messing up with you on the deal with parking at the park and stuff like that, and so, okay, and who came in at the end of the last selectmen's meeting, I think the May 1st one or whatever, was somebody from Fat Man's office that said, oh, well, we have $100,000 for a fire truck or towards an ambulance or something like that. We're hoping to up the price of parking benefit for Douglas from $1 to $5 per car. And there was one other thing, and I can't, that the pilot payment would not go down. But those are just bills filed, so it's not actual law, but at
Yeah.
least if they're hammered to think about things that could help Douglas, because the state is not paying their fair share in taxes for that money. And that's the way to go. So I was happy to hear that, and, but you could do the same with, you know, I don't know, lobby the legislators to talk to the ABA, grant givers to, maybe you did this in the past, to have them write letters or,
I had them try to interface with the MBLC to get sort of like a lowered threshold on their grant dispersals because of their requirements. I haven't approached them about the Office on Disability that does the $250,000 grants.
yeah, well, they did, I mean, back when, we had a senator here that lost to Fatman, the big thing he did that year was to up the amount of money that Webster got for their library to 75% or something like that from the state,
Yeah.
where normally it's about 49% that the state gives. So they got quite a bit, and then they have some, you know, they have the insurance company there and other,
Math free,
yeah, it
Mhm.
was pretty generous, or
Commerce.
it was before, yeah, so,
Yeah, they have some benefactors in Webster.
yeah, they do, so.
Webster deserved the stuff they got, you know, it's improved the center of Webster quite a bit,
Yeah,
you know. And their library's pretty nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't,
it-
how
Yeah.
far done is it?
It's not done, it's almost, well,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
not sure when it's gonna open, but it's close.
Right, can I move on? Any other questions? All right, so FY 2019 budget. I know
Good.
already, huh?
We have one,
We have one.
Yeah,
we have one.
so here's the million-dollar question, how many years do we get out of the override? And is it guaranteed?
Just one.
So in, and 2020, we could be standing out there the same and be on the bottom of the list?
They better
Ev-
not.
I
Even-
don't-
According to
I
the
don't
letter
think
of the
so.
law, yeah, but I mean, it would take some really hardcore
Yeah,
stuff to, because, you know, there's the, you know, I mean, a lot of the discussion, you know, it was political regarding, like, you know, the override, is it necessary or is it not?
mm-hmm,
And, you know, looking at it from the perspective, you know, as a library director out of town, you know, I would have said, you know, if the override had not passed, Douglas could not afford a library. Because, I mean, it's down. Douglas was, if you look at the towns in Worcester County that have a population within a 2,000 person range of Douglas, Douglas was in dead last in terms of override dollars passed since Prop 2.5 went into effect. And this takes us to a little above average. So we're up to average now, and it should take, you know, at least 5 years before we hit that thing down again. And the 5-year projection, which has been sort of lambasted this way, that way, and the other, you know, that was based on a worst case scenario in state funding, and then local measures, you know, about half passing and half failing. That should get us, you know, 5 years before the municipality has to start drawing deeply into free cash again in order to sustain its operational budget. And in the meantime, you know, what had previously been used for the operational budget and free cash could be used for capital expenses, which in theory will decrease the operational burden in the future because there'll be better equipment or this and that and the other. You know, whether that's all outside my purview as library director, but, you know, that was Matt's assessment, and it's an assessment I agree with. Now that it has passed, you know, we are pretty much guaranteed 5 years. I know according to, you know, there's nothing that earmarks this money for the library the next year, but I mean,
That was certainly the implication.
if
That was what the selectmen implied.
yeah,
Yes.
if there were, if anyone tries to take this money away from the library, there's just gonna be hell to pay. And it's not gonna be worth anyone's, I mean, it would be political suicide and it would fail. Cause all the energy that went into passing this override would then be pumped into just ramming whatever the library budget wants through town meeting floor. You know, which probably could have happened this past meeting if we had decided on a different strategy. But you know, we did our part. This is the second time the library has saved the town from a financial crisis. Because this is the second time. There's only been 3 overrides in Douglas history that have passed. You know, 2 of them library specific.
So the third one was the police in the same 94.
No, it was the school.
There's the schools. So like the first was
No,
that
the middle
joint.
school.
Which one?
It was, what was the middle school? That was the first override we had.
What, for
building.
debt exclusion? It
No,
wasn't
it was
a-
No,
for
that was the
it was
building.
for operations and
That's a
school.
debt exclusion, that's
Yeah.
not an override.
No, it was an override that we went through to get it.
Now, you had to
Because-
have a vote, but it's a debt
Yeah,
exclusion,
but
not
it
an
was-
override.
But it was an override because what it was is that we were getting from the state so much money, but we were still gonna have to go for an override to be able to pay our side of it. The difference
That
was
would
is
be a
that,
debt exclusion.
okay,
Yeah, it was. This is the actual.
because this building was gonna
override,
cost us
right,
700,000
debt
to
exclusion.
refurbish so we could keep it open as a high school. And the state was willing to give us 80% if we built that building. They would give us nothing if we wanted to fix this one.
I think the third one was the same, it was in 94. There was 2 things that passed, one was police, one was library. Library was like 35,000 or something, and police was about the same, you know, it wasn't that much more. So those are the two overrides that passed.
Well,
were the
they
same-
count as one override to the state, cause both of those segments passed in the menu, and then that gets lumped into one, but there was an override before that for like $20,000, I think, the year prior. Cause that was 94. And in 93, there was an operational override to support school salaries.
Okay.
So, don't you think that since it's been two overrides on the past with the library, that puts a target on our back?
Well, the
If
message is clear,
Exactly,
and you know,
that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
and I don't like that.
Me
I
neither.
don't think that's
Right, well,
right.
we need some money, let's get rid of the library, let's, you know.
and I've already expressed to the
Okay.
selectmen, you know, not at one of their meetings, but individually, you know, I mean, the next time the town is in this situation, if it is in this situation again, you need to pick a different target.
Right.
Because the library has done its part, you know.
You know.
And, you know, there's such a thing as a mandate, and now twice you have had the voters express overwhelmingly that, you
Don't
know,
touch our library.
they are willing to make sacrifices to keep the library open, but they want their library open. You know, it's not like we're a huge piece of the library budget. It's not like, or the town budget. It's
Yeah,
not
we're
like
not.
we're gonna save the town. And, you know, people would rather keep the library funded and, you know, fund other things, which we won't talk about minimally, rather than destroy the library so that other things can be funded above minimal.
Okay. Anything else on the budget, the 2019 budget? No comments, nothing?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about Friends. Ellie, can you report anything for us?
The Friends are meeting, a continuation of their annual meeting that was in April, which by bylaw we had to have in April. And at that time, it was decided that it would be nice not to talk about how to spend the money if the library wasn't gonna last
Yep.
that long. So it was decided to meet on this coming Saturday. So any friend is invited to come to the meeting and
While you're talking about it, where is the meeting, what time?
it's at 9 o'clock this Saturday, the 26th, is that the right date?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Of
26th.
May, at 9 o'clock in the morning at the library.
Okay,
okay.
and it's open to anybody, right?
Open to friends.
I'll bring my checkbook, so then
Thank
I'll
you.
be-
Yeah.
So does that make you like a friend in bad standing?
Yeah.
It's a little
I
distracting.
think I'm right behind you.
So,
I-
and there was something else, I can't remember what it was, but, this is, at this meeting, what we'll be deciding is, stuff like, the extras that the Friends do bring to the library,
Mhm.
like programming and stuff like that.
Okay.
Programs, museum passes, website, constant contact,
And food for, well, local authors.
and food for
Mhm.
local authors.
That's
I
right.
need some cheese.
Yep.
I promised people cheese, even if I have to bring it myself.
Cheese
Mhm.
and crackers and maybe some grapes.
Yeah.
Cheese, crackers, grapes. Well, it was fancy fruit trade for
Okay. So maybe, yeah, a little more of a report next month, so that your information gets on, out there, all right?
Okay.
The Friends were a big help keeping this library alive, a very big help, so, we should give them a voice. All right, with that, any other old business?
Take a look at the trees. I'm worried
know.
about the trees.
You know
I
what?
looked at them about a month ago, and,
They're
but you
brown.
were sure that is it because of the plowing?
No, January
Oh,
cold,
the coldness.
the cold. I am, lots of plants are gone, lots of plants.
Were they
No.
guaranteed at all?
No, you got them at my cost, and there is no guarantee. Plus, they give you 120 days, which is what, January 1st? Well, since we planted, so no, there's nothing.
Are they
And
dead or revivable?
I don't know. We're watching. I got 5 of them I planted at the same time in my yard, and they're
Give them a
brown.
hot bath.
Yeah. It,
With soap?
yeah.
No, with fertilizer.
not having a snow cover
Yeah.
and
Cold,
the
cold.
sub-cold weather that we had in January. And you know, we all bear and go through it and it's, oh, there's no snow and stuff. It is the most brutal conditions, right?
Before snows are worse, I can give you a shovel and you go out in the backyard and pick whatever tree you want.
Gee, thanks.
Plant some Bradford
I got
pears.
7 acres of pine trees.
You know what, your Bradford pears, I think I've got the total of, in 1 year, of cutting down nothing but Bradford pear after Bradford pear. You know how they talk about trees being invasive and
Yeah, yeah.
they're going on, well,
Do they
Oh.
have fruit on them? These Bradford?
no,
No,
but
they
they're poor
evolved
structures.
to smell like rotten meat.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Huh.
they're
They're
terrible.
the grossest things. They're the
The flowers. Where do
they
second
come
worst
from? Where
organism
did
on
they
the
get
face of the
invaded
planet
from?
after the gypsy moth caterpillars.
No, you know what, it just was a plant that was it flowers great and the public loved it and they went after it and they overplanted it.
It's like
Right.
all the olives,
So, right,
Russian olives.
yeah. Or
It's a
the-
hybrid
Right. it
between
is,
like
yeah.
a Chinese pear and something else.
There's a,
They look like dogwoods,
yeah,
but they're a lot cheaper. They grow faster.
Yeah.
and on a windless August day, they fall apart, right? The weight of the leaves will cause them to break. But, so we
They
don't
also-
use them, and actually you don't buy them anymore. You buy other pears that have been a different hybrid that are bred to last
But it's the
longer.
worst plant on the face of the planet.
And if you ever had a prune moon when it was flowering, the smell is awful. You know,
They're literally evolved to smell like rotten meat because
Yeah.
they're pollinated by flies.
yep.
And they're huge in the south because they just explode. And on these nice, humid, sticky
Ugh.
spring days,
I
like
know.
on my college campus, that's what they planted all over the place. Thousands of them. You could not
Yeah.
walk outside without gagging. It was horrible.
There were times I would go to the nursery to buy 2 of them. They had 500 the day before, and they had none that next day.
Wow.
We overplanted. It's the burning bush, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
God, those
That
things,
one-
I'd love to rip them out of my
And you
yard.
know what? If
Well, you
they-
have one in front of the library.
right. Yeah, we got 2 still out there, right?
But
And
they're
it-
pretty, I think.
Oh, they are. And you know what? As long as you got the green side up,
Yeah.
they survived.
Yeah.
Okay, they were a very easy plant, and we overplanted them, right? And Massachusetts can't, but you can scoot over the New Hampshire border and buy them. So,
But
You
no,
know, Yeah.
don't buy them. Kill
yeah,
them.
maples are the same way. You know, at one point Worcester was 98% Norway maples in the population.
Well, I've got a lot
And
of
then
seedlings
the
in
Asian
my
longhorn
gardens.
beetle took
I got
care of a lot of
beetles
that.
too.
You know,
Yeah.
so as we're watching and we'll see what happens, but it may not be good. And we're in good company. At least there's not many gypsy moths out, knock on wood,
Yeah.
right?
They're all
Um,
in Worcester this year.
Are they?
They are.
Good, you keep them, you
Yeah.
keep
I
them.
don't want them. I can't
Um,
let Ephraim play outside right now.
Yeah, 'cause they're all over.
They're
Yeah.
out?
Mhm.
Really?
Well, we have
Yeah.
2 giant maple trees in our backyard, so and it's like fenced in and sort of off, and our house is in front of it, so it's literally just, if you open the back door, you're gonna be pushing those little threads aside, and then the whole
Already, huh?
backyard.
Mhm.
It's horrible.
Oh, yeah. Ew.
And I'm sorry,
No.
this is way off topic.
Yeah, I know.
On to new business.
Yeah.
New business, gypsy.
New business, online library card registrations. Tell me about it.
Online library card registration. So historically what we have done, if someone wants to apply for a library card, they have to come to the library, they have to show a form of photo ID that has their address on it. And that proves they are who they are. A lot of people, were posting in this discussions over the past couple months about how they haven't been into the library in forever. And a lot of people says like, well, everything we need is online, and we have ebooks, we have access to everything without needing to go there, and we wouldn't want to go there anyway because, it's not accessible. So what I did is I created an online registration form where someone can just go to the website, apply for a card, it'll ask for all the information we would normally put into a library account, and so then I will create the card and mail it to them in the mail. That will, prove more or less the connection
As a
to
residence.
their
That
place
gets
of address.
around the
Yeah.
the photo ID that way.
So like we know they're connected to that address, just a little bit of Google searching and whatnot to make sure that they're a valid human being. There's ways to find that out. And if it's a suspicious application, it's pretty easy to spot. So far, there haven't been any, but, you know, about 20 new library card users now since
Oh, wow,
since
the
whenever I
online
made that post on
registration.
Facebook, which was just
Yeah, that wasn't
like
long ago,
4 or
yeah.
5 days ago.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that and sort of pushing out information about the ebooks, and I think that, you know, the override discussions did generate a lot of activity on Facebook. I mean, the mailer, you know, a lot of the library got talked about a lot. We've been the topic of discussion for the past 3 months, and people have asked a lot of questions, and so
people are
they've learned
surprised
more about the
some of the
library.
stuff that the library has or does that they had no clue.
It seems like every day, you know, I would have a conversation with someone where, you know, something I just took for granted that everyone knew, they didn't. Like, you have museum passes. Oh, you can just use the online databases without being there. Oh, and the kicker is, like, I feel like every day I had to explain to someone that, you know, we do have to fund the library in order to be able to use other libraries. It's like, I don't know how many other ways I can put this. That's just the way it is.
And there are still people who don't.
And there's still people who
understand.
don't believe it, you know, I just don't.
Geez, I got caught somebody walking out of voting and he was saying, why can't we just use the libraries up in the schools? And I'm like, I wanted to shake him and say, dude, the schools are locked down. You are not allowed to go into the building, and nor do I, if I got a kid there, do I want you in the building, right?
Especially with whatever's going on now.
Yes, you know, you don't need to go to the schools, right? And what are you gonna, you know, see Mike Mulligan, right, in the steam shovel book? What are you gonna get, right? My God.
I love that book.
It's one of my favorites.
Only during the summertime, you know, and this.
Right, yes, I mean,
I forgot that.
how ridiculous,
Get my book.
right? It's two different things. But anyways, any questions on, online cards?
No, I
Good.
think it was a great idea.
Good. Yeah,
I
thank
was
you.
actually very excited when I saw it. I said, oh, wow, look at that.
5-year plan is the next one up.
The last time we did a strategic plan, I just did a 3-year plan, and that has expired at this point because I've been here for 3 years, and so it's time to do another 5-year plan. If we do it for a 5-year plan, then we won't have to do it again in 3 years. It's hard to plan 5 years out when you don't know exactly what's going to
Yeah.
happen, but, you know, 5-year plans, it seems to be, you know, the thing, you know, that's what the town administration is doing.
Right.
You know, that, you know, I think, you know, Stalin had one, Chairman Mao had one,
Mhm.
so we need one too. What I would like, I guess, to get sort of it kick-started is if all of you who are willing, before the next Board of Trustee meeting, would just do like a little write-up of, you know, where do you want the library to go? What kind of library do you want it to be? What do you see it being 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Just pour your heart out, you know, do a little narrative, you know.
Yeah.
And then that can be a starting point, because, you know, and you know, I'm collect opinions from, you know, patrons, from town administration, from trustees. You know, last time we did the 5-year, or the strategic plan, I did an online survey and talked to people, and that was pretty much it. I wrote the plan whenever I had strep throat on the couch or something like that. And this one, maybe we should put a little bit more into, try to get, you know, focus groups in, reach out, do it all official, follow the MBLC guidelines. So if y'all can do that for me, and next month I will have sort of a roadmap to getting a
outline.
good, robust 5-year plans that has, you know, those annual goals and objectives and measures and whatnot. Okay?
Do the- does
Her
the
phone
board-
agrees.
Does the Board of Library Commissioners have any guidance on
They
those?
do.
on that?
They have like a whole page on how to do a 5-year plan.
But
But
not
not specific, do they have any specific suggestions?
of what's happening what's the future in the next 5 years for libraries. Is there been a nice article and
Not from the
American Library
MBLC,
too.
but there have been a lot of articles, and like the trend right now is if you try to look at what the library of the future looks like, just don't try to, because it's each individual library is sort of diverging more and more as time goes by. You know, we're not all the same library anymore. You know, used to the libraries had a template because, you know, Carnegie dropped a library in town.
Yeah,
You had
yeah.
this much fiction, this much nonfiction, this much reference. You know, this is how it worked. We all used the same system of cards. You know, now we've got different integrated library systems, consortia forming, and, you know, we're trying to cater more to the individual town needs.
How is your Blackstone Valley Library group going? Because that's the type of thing that probably looks attractive to us too, is regionalizing almost services, which is what you started to do in that one, but I don't know.
It's going. It is, we haven't started any big new initiatives because there's been a lot of director turnover. You know, we got the ball rolling. You know, the big three directors involved in it really were me, Jennifer Woodward in Whitensville, and Ann
What town? It doesn't
in
matter.
Uxbridge, because there's been 3 Anns there. One of the Anns from Uxbridge. Ann has moved, Jennifer has moved, which has put those libraries in a state of flux, but I believe the new director, the interim director in Whitensville is going to be staying there. I don't know for sure. And also, we're kind of been emulated on a bigger scale. So now we have the Central Massachusetts Library Advocates who have been meeting here and there and all over, and they're not interested in like functional operational collaboration like we are in the Blackstone Valley, but they're pooling resources for like advocacy on a statewide level and, you know, bigger initiatives. But yeah, we did meet not too awful long before the override, just sort of like to touch bases and feel out where each other were. And I didn't suggest anything big or grand there, given the uncertainty of our own future. But now that that's more steady, and once Whitensville's director settles in, and we can hopefully get some more of that stuff going on, and maybe try out some new experiments, like we did with the large print, the CD books, the Ancestry, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I pulled us out of Ancestry because we
Oh,
had
yeah.
nobody using it. It was one of those things that
Yeah.
you know that everyone clamors for, and then you offer it and
Unfortunately.
no one shows up.
Yeah.
Well, let's, before we go too far off this, I'm not sure, I don't know, a 5-year plan, that's tough, because I can answer it in one word, and that's open, right?
Open.
That's what I want to be in
Stay
5 years,
open.
is open. Okay, and so I don't know, planning and this and that, and, you know, in my business, I make plans and it changes at 7 o'clock in the morning when we hit the job, okay? And
That's why, you know, like, I'm not a big fan of.
I'm not either. It's like, wow, you know,
But
you
it's
gotta be able
something
to.
that MBLC requires us to do
Right.
to
Receive grants.
receive.
Well,
We
so
don't
it's
have to have
important
it for
at that point.
library incentive grants,
No,
but
I
we have to
realize
have
that
it for
for-
the LSTA grants.
Yeah, yeah.
But so before we go, what did, Library Commission, what did they say to you after you won? Because I'm sure they were watching and they were getting nervous.
Probably
if-
nothing.
Probably nothing,
Yeah,
huh?
Congratulations, Liz Babbitt said congratulations, because we were talking back and forth about that. Other than that, they are still busy. Like, they've been working really hard on the legislative agenda, trying to restore, or trying to get funding for library and communications technology, all that kind of stuff.
I get you, but you know, I mean, I would have thought they would have started saying, you know, what happens is this the beginning of a trend?
Yeah, yeah, right,
Okay.
exactly.
And what, you know, they're not helping us, right? They're not helping us, okay? And it's very discouraging. I mean, they got buku bucks, and where are they coming in to
No,
help?
they don't have that much, but I think they're signed in the wrong places.
Really?
Or
I
they're
mean, even-
emphasized.
I'm upset with them with the ADA stuff, because
It's
They
not
sh-
them, that's,
I understand, but they have control over that money, but they change it into building a bigger building that's way too big, and which is not,
yeah, right.
not part of society today, okay? And that's, you know what, I'm mad back at that vote that we had years ago, right? I'm still,
Yeah, but I mean,
I know.
it
I
was good it
understand.
failed, you know?
I know, that's right, it was doomed to fail. We spent all that time on something that we all knew when we were voting for, it's gonna fail.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't what we needed,
Yeah,
you know? We all knew that going in there.
Yeah.
And
Quadrupling
they
the
should,
size of the building.
they're not helping us with our issues. And libraries more and more with people and kids sticking their face here, it's tough. We need to get them out of there and to open a book, open a magazine. Enjoy reading again. You know, did I just do my 5-year plan? Okay, I don't know, but we're not facing what's happening. A lot of people saying, wow, I never go into that building. Why? Okay? You know, get more people to walk into the building, right? So that's another one of mine, so no one uses that, okay?
So our 5-year plan needs to be capital improvements towards ADA compliance,
Yes.
just like the last 5-year plan.
Well-
And the one before.
well, no, I think.
You know what, it's great, but you and I know that's not gonna happen, right?
I don't know, I wouldn't, you know.
I don't know.
Well, then,
We've been fighting that for a
we just go
long
over the fact
battle.
That the selectmen basically said no capital
They,
in their plan. For the
the
town?
capital committee
Yeah.
wrote a letter 2 or 3 years ago.
I
No, I'm talking
remember
about
that.
this past meeting that when they were getting
Yeah.
ready to vote for the override, they were going through the statement over the fact that they weren't gonna do any more they were gonna cut back on the capital
They
funding
they inflated the capital budget, just
Okay.
so that they could spend all the 1.5 million in the first year, which is the first year that they have to do it in.
Yeah.
If they don't, then the amount of money that they, will only be what is spent, or what is not budgeted, or whatever. So they did put in a bunch more capital. I mean, almost everything is capitally funded now, except for the library.
But on the
And-
list, on
and-
the list, it was dead last.
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
Yeah, you're right.
well, no, it was,
that's
the
our
police
bullseye on the
department-
back.
Yeah,
Oh,
Right?
we have,
no, because it's a
We're
debt
getting you a
exclusion
t-shirt, the
thing, as
bullseye.
opposed to a non-debt exclusion thing.
part of our problem is we have a plan that is active before the capital committee and the building and facilities construction committee. And, you know, every now and then I get flack still. You know, like, why haven't the trustees put this before town meeting for a vote? Why haven't we voted on a debt
Because
exclusion
the
to fund this?
selectmen won't do it.
Like,
Yeah.
the
You know,
selectmen
the
won't do
selectmen,
it,
yeah, and we
you know,
can't just
it
put it in
wouldn't pass
front of
this committee, much less, you know, the
You know
town
what?
at large.
A
And-
lot of times
but there's
how I
all this
respond to that
political-
is, besides being good looking, I'm not stupid, I'm smart. This is not gonna fly. 100% it's not gonna fly. And I can be sarcastic about it, because that's what gets me through the day. But I'm telling the truth.
And it has nothing to do with safety, Joe, either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Safety is the most important thing in the world.
Right,
But we've got
you're right, you're right. I'm
project with
100
a lot of political
Yes, we
baggage.
should ca-
It's
we
a
need to
political baggage
capitalize on it
project,
right
and
now.
you know, the
We have a lot
I
of
get
goodwill right
conflicting
now.
advice regarding this project because I mean the $2.5 million renovations plans, a lot of money has been spent on that. A lot of sweat has went into
Yes.
that. But you know, looking at it, you know, I still sort of keep coming back to my opinion I had when I interviewed for this job is it just needs to be swept away and we need to start fresh. Cause
Nobody's gonna like that, just.
no one's gonna like it, but I
Because
mean,
we've already spent a lot of money on it,
Right.
on doing nothing.
I know,
Yeah,
a lot
on
of money
doing
has been
nothing.
spent on doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, those plans are just a rock. Cause, you know, preserving the motif of the granite work around the outside of the back window and maintaining, you know, the brick and the structure and all this and, you know, doing all these interior improvements with windows and lines of sight and whatever. I mean, what we really need is just 3 cinder block walls with an elevator.
And bathrooms.
And a
And
bathroom.
Yeah, not halfway down the stairs with the bathrooms.
And you
You're
know,
right.
that should be accomplishable for, you know, I'm just gonna take a stab in the dark, not being an architect, but $500,000 or less, you know.
Well, you know, I did find out, just from being on Capitol, that when the front steps of the library were done with the concrete,
Mhm.
normally one has to go out for bid for these things. But because it was a single person company, the concrete people, it was just a family-owned business.
Mm.
They didn't have to do prevailing wage money. That's changed, that's a change recently, that's happened with them, because it was a pain in the neck to get, you know, these single people that had to go out to bid, and then they just would start yelling and screaming at you because you said, well, I have to have all of this in order to pay for the work that you've done. But if we can find, you know, single people to do it as opposed to big construction
Sole
companies.
proprietorship.
Yeah, sole proprietorship, people to do it, as opposed to big corporations. Big corporations, you have to go out for bid, you have to take the lowest bid, blah,
You know
blah,
what,
blah, blah. And you have to pay prevailing wage.
I gotta qualify that, because I get jobs that I have to do prevailing wage, but I don't get, I work next to the guys, I don't get the prevailing wage, because I'm the owner, right? But my employees, I have to pay them
So
prevailing wage.
if you were the one doing all the work,
I
I
would,
think-
yeah, wouldn't charge prevailing wage.
right,
I
and
don't have
that's
to-
what the concrete people were, they were, I think it was brothers or something like
Yeah,
that, that did
right.
it, and they didn't have to be paid
Right.
prevailing wage,
Yeah.
so that was a big savings.
No.
So it's how to get around.
And you know what? I have to certify the payroll, which costs me
Yeah.
money.
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta,
crazy.
right, and I mean, ask my guys, they got paid, right? It's an awful lot. It's an awful lot.
Oh, it's crazy.
It,
I
no,
think-
it's worse than that. It just-
Yeah, yeah.
Right, all I'm doing is making my accountant rich.
I mean, and how long have I not worked? And I think for a laborer, it was like $30 an hour.
Oh, if,
I didn't even get paid.
I
that.
do
That was
railroad
just
work, my guys
cheap.
get $56 an hour.
Your laborer does now?
My guys, yeah,
Oh.
will get $56 an hour.
Pass
Those
through the
people
law
should be
that
getting paid that.
prevented
Yeah, but you know what?
doing the work.
So should you.
You know,
I don't know. I think it's,
but the point is that,
when the town has used Valley
it
Tech
comes out of our
before,
pockets.
it's been,
I'm working,
almost
I'm
a
working being
babysitting
paid by the
service
state
that
of
they had to
Massachusetts. and-
do,
right?
where the
So-
kids will mess around.
Well, that's good,
People should
During-
be
No,
paid.
but that's,
in
that's
my
where the
day
money
when we were
doesn't
going
come
through
back
Valley Tech, we
into,
were going in and
you know,
building the town
the
hall.
town.
Well, this
right?
building,
Because they're paying these
originally when it
numbers.
was changed into
You know,
the
I've
municipal.
applied
paying
for some
these
Valley Tech
I,
projects.
I,
Maybe
listen,
this
I
year
like to
we'll
pay my
actually
guys good,
get one.
but it's like,
Yeah,
wow.
but it's I
Painting.
mean, they've painted the library
No.
before,
Mm.
but again, you have to
I don't
supervise
think we
them,
wanna go
and
cut
that's,
rate on
that's
building an
the.
elevator.
Nope, I don't think so
Another thing
either.
is using the
bathrooms.
prisoners.
Right, or
for-
bathrooms.
For work,
No.
and they're pretty good, they're better than the Valley Tech sometimes.
But yeah.
And usually
just
a
to rein it
project of
back,
that
the,
size, it doesn't,
Yeah,
it doesn't work for,
Right
nice,
now, we've-
but you need other people.
yeah.
We've got our override passed, you know, we've got stable funding, we have a lot of support, we have a lot of
Staircase, I could give you an
people
elevator.
and
Attention.
structures who are paying
Yeah,
attention,
yeah.
ready to advocate.
Just
No,
have
I
to
had
turn.
No, I had the seat elevator.
If
Yeah,
we
yeah, I think
My
pursue
father was using
small
it.
And how old
incremental
are they? I mean,
changes
how-
to increase the library, you know,
How old is it?
accessibility,
No, well, we could
Then
use
2
it just to
years.
get,
every subsequent change takes us further
front
away
stairs
from that
of the
$2.5 million plan anyway.
Mm,
So
put
it-
the
it
outside.
will
I don't
end
know
up
if it could be used
irrelevant.
outside.
So either, I think, you know, just sort of as a matter of soul searching and figuring things out, that needs to either kind of be let go and let fallen by the wayside so we can start focusing on things like weatherization, becoming more energy efficient, maybe getting, you know, a small lift outside, you know, sort of things like that. Or we need to find money fast. So we can make the big thing happen.
Mhm.
So everyone sniff. We need to go into fundraising mode if we want to. Well, either way, we want to go into fundraising mode.
well, talk
Because-
to Aaron.
But that's one guy. We need lots of those one guys, and you all need to be the, you know,
We've been in that position before and failed miserably.
try again.
You're the one that is more in touch with the community than we are. You know, we come to these meetings once a month and we use the library, but we
But
don't.
you know people.
sort
You know,
of.
Joe probably has a couple friends, you know, it's like, you know, the library is near and dear to my heart, you know.
Well,
You,
there are people out there,
oh, dude, do you
But-
have a relative who's about to die, you know?
Yeah.
Do they not have kids? You
Yeah.
know, what are they doing with their, do they have a trust set up? You know, come and let me give you the library director's number.
well,
And I want to try to get. I'm gonna try to. I know these people
That's
have been through
75
hell
feet of
with
ramp.
OPS committee, but you know, I kind of wanted to sort of
7 what?
keep
75
them
feet of
together,
ramp?
you know, as
What, to
a
go in
core
front of the
group of
library,
library
back and forth,
advocacy
back and
moving
forth,
and back
forward
and
and
forth and back and
That's
fundraising.
what it's doing in my front, my
Capital
parents'
stuff.
front yard right now.
Operationally, we're good. I mean, next year we'll have the best operational budget. You know, far more than I would have dreamed of. You know.
right.
It's there, which is great. But it's the capital where we
Mhm.
struggle. And if we have money to put forward, you know, to make improvements and, you know, all this, you know, free cash now that's not tied up in the operational budget. And, you know, community support and whatnot, you know, we should figure out what direction we want to take this. Small incremental changes or just try to build up to a lump sum of cash that we can leverage towards like the big shebang soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to let the, you know,
The momentum.
we don't want to let that $2.5 million dream sink opportunities we have in the meantime of grabbing some resources and funding.
And when's the ADU?
On the other hand, if we can make it happen, that would be great. Applications will be in the fall.
Okay.
So I think November, December is when I applied
And,
last.
and you know what, I think you're already on the right path, because you and I both know that walking into the town and asking for $2.5 million is not gonna happen, all right? It's just not gonna, and it's the worst part is that we spent all that money to get the plan. Yeah. But maybe what you do is, as a grant comes around our way that, well, we know a good place where a handicap bathroom would go in the building. It would work out if we, you know, we put it in that front corner like the plan calls for. And then that's maybe one direction. We know that an elevator needs to be out in the back, outside, without all the grandeur, but that would be the direction we work at, right? So you're, lack of using a lousy term, we're piecemealing it.
Yeah,
Which is what we've talked about back and forth, and the authorities above us says, oh, you can't do that. But if you get
In the long run, it's
250,000,
a lot more expensive because, you know,
absolutely.
Yes.
every time you make an alteration, you then have to sort of go back to your architect and be like, okay, we've made these alterations. You know, the CAD files need to be updated. This has to be, you know, every time you do that, you know, that's a big expense.
We've already talked to Salo. We talked to Salo
And you
about
do it for free.
15 to 20 years
So-
ago.
I think so. I mean, the reality of it, and you know what, that's why this board has not brought it to, we're smart enough to realize that we look foolish asking
Yeah.
for,
But since he
with
owns the
this,
property
you
behind
know,
us.
But if we have like a
Yeah,
really
but,
powerful fundraising campaign
Bob Jersey
and we're
was
able to
against it.
raise, you know, $750,000 over the course of the next year, and then we get the town to kick in, you know, a commiserate amount of free cash for, you know, bump us up in that capital list, and we get the $250,000 ADA grant to add on to that. I mean, that gets us a long way.
mhm.
But first, we have to have we have to raise capital. We have to find money that we can say this is there ready to match. And it's a catch-22 because there's lots of donors who will be like, well, we would love to donate money, but you know, is the town
Yeah.
ready to match? And then
Yeah.
the town's like, well, we would love to give you money, but do you have donors ready to match? So
Yeah.
it's a fun.
And again, remember there was that one donor who was,
Yeah.
he was failing and he offered us
50,000,
money and he
yeah.
said, but you gotta be started before I pass away. And I'm like, well, can you survive for another 5-6 years, pal? You know,
And he did.
unfortunately. No, he didn't.
No.
But, yeah, it's a tough little scenario that we have.
Did they
It's-
ever look at building an elevator inside the existing building?
We talked about it,
I mean,
Take
the
up
co-
an awful lot of space because you need a
In-
machine room.
and it's,
I mean, the machine room could go in a portion of the basement.
No, and again, you're right, there's lots of things
The
that can
cost
be
goes
done,
down when you don't have
It's,
to build it in
you know,
addition to the building.
and,
It's actually
Yeah,
not
that's-
that much cheaper, cause
Right.
you have to
Support
demolish what you've got
Yeah.
there in the floor, you have to go around these studs, weight bearing stuff, redistribute
Well, I'm
that
talking
weight.
about the handicap type of elevators instead of a full elevator.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
our
the
last
church
plan
across the
was.
street, I think,
The church,
yes.
I mean, St. Dennis, but.
Yeah, but
it's
also the
an
second
handicap one,
church.
and then second congregational did.
Yeah,
And
That's what I applied
They don't
for
have
the
anywhere
last
near the
grant
same
round.
collection that we can get from the town, and they were able to put them in. I mean, they did not come to $2 million for
know.
the elevators,
and you know,
well, they don't have to do prevailing wage either.
yeah.
They're God's will.
Well, I know that because I worked 10 years for St. Dennis,
Yeah, yeah,
and they paid me less than minimum.
yeah.
well, but the other part is that, you know, you gotta look at usage, all right?
Yeah.
St. Dennis would be Sunday morning, Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, this would be
You got a
5
couple
days a
people
week.
using it, this is 5 days a week. You don't want to have something that is essentially, I mean, I'm not talking grandeur, but you want an
No, but at the
elevator.
same time, is
You know?
that how much usage are you gonna be really using it? I mean, the place is open.
Yeah.
But the reality is we've been going by without anything.
Right.
So
Right.
it
But
isn't like you
you-
actually have to have a
We
usage
could have
to
a
get on the back.
basket outside the window.
Yeah, we
Right.
could.
Lower.
Ellie, you listen, Ellie
That-
still
that
wants to
would-
do
that
a
would be-
drive-through.
I do, I wrote it down. That's what I suggested.
That
I
would-
wanna drive through.
That would be based on the treehouse book, but unfortunately somebody stole that from the library,
You
so
know,
you
I
can't
think if
use
you have
it.
an elevator, you might actually have more people using it, because
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think parents
Mums
with
with
kids and strollers and
Carriages
so on.
and strollers.
And then you
Yeah.
have to have it inspected every year
Yeah.
because of state, I remember they wanted a safety telephone put in, to the elevator and the one I was working at
Sturridge.
didn't
Yeah.
have, that, phone.
No, you need to have the elevator because that's the only light when the power goes out.
Right,
I know, because I've
exactly.
been caught in an elevator when the power goes out.
Yeah, yeah, but, I think I got a Barbie phone or something, a toy phone,
Yeah.
and just put it in.
Put it in there, heard you
And
good.
it was fine for a year or two, and then they finally decided to check it out, and, hey, this doesn't work. It's a toy.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I'm already fearful of elevators.
The elevator and the entrance cannot be just a slap-on. We're
Yeah.
required
Oh,
to
no, I'm
make,
not saying it's.
I understand, but we're required to, if we do that, that needs to be the main entrance to the building. Right? And
No, the elevator doesn't have to be the main entrance.
yes, it does. It has to be part of the main entrance.
Okay.
You can't send a person to the back door and slide them in an elevator.
Well, the back door is where the parking lot is now, so that basically is the
That's-
main entrance.
Yeah.
You've
Right.
got it, all
That
right?
needs to be the new
So,
front door.
as long as you put a ramp to get in the downstairs, then you have an elevator to go up from downstairs for them to
No,
get
it
in.
takes up too much space,
That's the issue is space.
So-
if you do it inside.
Because we're already
We're go-
strapped for space.
We're gonna be, you gotta be careful, because I know what you're saying, it's a great
My family
idea.
owned an elevator in the house.
Yeah, but it's your private house.
Yes.
Right? You can't cut corners on that when you're doing this. And you gotta remember, we start this, and if we exceed certain amounts, we've gotta go and step the other things up,
Yeah,
right? You know, how about bookshelf spacing,
but
right?
as I said, the churches have put elevators in that go up. They're public buildings, so they're meeting the criteria. They don't take up that much space more than a closet size. The professional building over on West Street has an elevator. It doesn't take up more than 6 feet by 6 feet.
Yeah, that's like half the library though.
No,
If it's inside, but outside
You know,
is 6 foot.
anywhere you put that, because that's what we're struggling looking at the last plans. Because like if you go into the library on a Thursday night, or on a Tuesday night, I mean, you usually have a program happening where the DVDs are. The front space in front of the desk is busy. You've got children playing over here, and in the back room where we would cut a hole in the floor to put the elevator is where chess club meets, and you've got stacks around there too. If you put your elevator there, the stacks have to go away, or at least half of them, because you're just not going to be able to access them. So that would be half of our juvenile nonfiction collection gone, and no space for one of our Tuesday night programs. And we would be cutting a hole in the children's programming rooms. We would lose that too. So even though it's what we applied for last year, and it would bring us, you know, for $250,000, we could become fully ADA compliant, according to the grant I applied last year, it would effectively make the library about, we would lose about a fourth of our functional space.
Right,
for
but
that.
if you look at the plan that we paid $50,000 for, we lose a third of the space to start with.
Where?
No, it bumped out
No.
the
You've
back.
lost the back stack.
No,
That becomes
No.
offices in your plan.
oh, no, that
No,
Yes,
was,
it does.
no, that was.
Sorry, no.
No,
Yeah.
we
Taking
changed
out the
that.
stairway, that's all it's doing.
No, the plan that I was given when I came on here, the whole back room was being turned into the library office.
No,
Because the bathrooms were gonna become out of the old office.
No,
no,
bathrooms went downstairs in the front of the building behind the the children's librarian's
That's
desk.
the last plan I got.
Well, I got a new one for you, all right?
Okay.
So,
I can
and
send you a link to the plans.
the other part
I have
was,
the most recent
it was going outside the stair area that we had. And the worst part was, we'd be losing the grandeur of the stairs going down,
Yeah.
but we also kept the ones up to the loft, and keeping that. So going where the stairways was a hall to where that. The downside of all that is, people could enter in the first floor, and we had to monitor the first floor, which split our people up,
Yeah.
okay?
Which we could just close the front doors, but that.
We tried hard to
that was
keep our front doors
resisted.
open, yeah. We want the grandeur for people to walk up those beautiful stairs into those gorgeous front doors. We were trying to keep that, and then we plan on
which
getting a
need to
waiver.
be redone again.
Right, so, yeah, it's, again, you know what, it's not perfect, there's lots of things to do, but maybe we revisit things. I'm in agreement with you, we shouldn't take the square box that we have and put an elevator into this structure. We don't need to lose real estate. One of our major goals when we started all this is, we had, I don't know, 4,000 square feet of space, and we made an effort to use more of it. All right,
Yes.
we worked hard on planning to use some of that. So if we don't wanna take and stick a library in there. I mean, an elevator, I'm sorry, stick an elevator in there. But having a structure that was on the outside that was maybe a little less grand,
Yeah.
we could work on, there's all kinds of options, but the other part too is, our bathrooms are horrible, right?
I missed the
Do you hit
porta
your
potty
head?
from October, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get in there. That's another main thing. We need to have that, so that someone on the second floor can get down to the first floor to a brand new bathroom. And we've talked about, that plan had a male and female bathroom, but, there's places now that has both, a family bathroom. There's other things, that would take the cost of a bathroom and cut it in half, there's lots of that. And then it goes, you talked about having the system to power the elevator, right? Well, the best spot is where our antique furnace is. So that's moving that out, putting a new system in, because we could use a new system, and putting the electrical to the elevator right there, because it's right
You
near.
can't, you have to keep the room absolutely separate. When those inspectors come, they won't let you put anything in the elevator room.
Right,
Yeah, the
It only can be-
elevator room is just
Just for
that,
the
the
elevator.
elevator room.
No chairs, nothing.
And then the other part that probably piggybacks on top of this is that, even though Pete Tatro updated our electrical, you start doing that, it's not in the ideal perfect spot. So now you're looking at maybe moving the electrical panel to power the elevator at the same time, and you got the space to do that. So there's lots of things that it's the big avalanche of, it's not the snowball running down the hill, this is an avalanche. We start working on this, things change, right? Electric panel's gotta be moved.
That's why we
Right.
just need $2 million. Then
That's
we
right.
can just do it. Just do it. So go find $2 million.
Okay. So that,
Okay.
can we go and leave on the meeting with that we're all gonna get $2 million?
If we
Right.
divide it
If
up,
you all get $2 million, then
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, then we'll do the fancy stuff.
We're going to the
some
Bahamas,
solar panels
Right.
on the roof.
Yeah.
Stock up on fancy ramen.
I wonder, I wonder if the library the structure could support solar panels. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I have a customer who's got the panels and she loves them, right? Right, and there, you know, it's the way to go.
Who's that person, you?
We have them
You know,
too. It's awesome.
yes, it's awesome.
We have tracking arrays in the back.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, we just
It's-
have, we have a perfect south facing.
You can sit there and watch them move.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
cool. One of our friends
Yeah.
has them.
We're supposed to be working, we're all
Oh,
watching
yeah. it
her
probably-
panels move.
It's amazing. All of our
Yeah, we
utilities,
ours is
uh,
too.
Um,
I've been told, not enough sun on my roof.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm too
Well,
shady.
you have a yard, don't you? You could put them in the yard.
Yeah, possibly.
Do you have
Yeah.
sheep still?
No,
Well,
no.
put them where the sheep are.
Sheep were, yeah.
I have
Yeah.
the perfect pitched house for them.
Well, go for
Everybody
it.
keeps calling.
Well, so with that, do we got any other new business?
Well, let's go home.
All right, so our next meeting is June 26th, okay?
Okay,
With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved. You're up.
A
Second.
second, and it's a standing vote.
For,